Hello everybody. In this video I would like to give you a basic overview of the Inter-Company Transfer Work Visas for South Africa. The video is not aimed at the higher level of all the intricate ins and outs of the ICT, so I will predominantly touch on the basics and explain why we have the Inter-Company Transfer Work Visa. In South Africa, the Inter-Company Transfer Work Visa is issued for up to 4 years, which is quite long if you compare it to other countries in Africa. As a matter of fact, South Africa is one of the very few countries which has an explicit intercompany transfer work visa. So I think that's quite good. Now, the concept of an intercompany transfer work visa is always the same internationally, and basically also in South Africa, we have 3 major requirements. Okay, so the first requirement is that between the sending entity and the receiving entity, there needs to be ideally a mother-daughter or a sister-sister relationship. So we're talking about mother company sending in the UK, sending it to a daughter company in South Africa, or a sister company in Thailand sends it to a South African sister company, and they're both owned by an American holding company. So this would be the typical scenario of an intercompany transfer visa. The second requirement is then that the assignee who's being sent has to be employed by the sending entity for more than 6 months before the assignment starts. Okay, so that's really, really important. So Home Affairs wants to avoid that you literally employ somebody brand new overseas and send them to South Africa. Okay, and the third requirement, and that's a really, really important one, is that the assignee transfers certain skills to a local understudy. Okay. This local understudy must be a South African citizen or a permanent residence holder and needs to be able to ideally fill the position of the foreigner after the assignment of the foreigner has ended. Okay, so that's the concept of the intercompany transfer work visa. Okay, the transfer of skills needs to be proven or needs to be laid out by a transfer of skills plan that forms part of the application and is quite an important document. Okay. Other required documents are the personal documents, medical certificate, radiological report, the birth certificate is actually not required, but a marriage certificate if married, and police clearances, the normal, usual personal documents. In addition to that, there's quite a few undertakings required from the South African entity. They have to inform the Department of Home Affairs if the assignment ends, for instance, and also have to, undertake certain repatriation requirements. Then we need an employment contract, and I think the employment contract requires a little bit of more explanation. Okay, so ideally, we add an assignment contract. So the principle is that the fundamental employment relationship with the sending entity remains intact, can be paused, but the foreigner, after the 4 years, can return to the mothership. I always say mothership, so basically into the holding company or to the sending entity. Okay, so the underlying employment relationship is being paused. There can be a local employment, but it cannot be only local employment. So that's, I think, very important, and that's why it's called an assignment or an intercompany transfer work visa. Okay, where the foreigner is paid does not really matter. You can be partly paid overseas, partly paid in South Africa. You can get full payment in South Africa or full payment overseas. However, please be aware that then your local entity might have a tax obligation to pay as you earn over to SARS. But I'm not a tax expert, so you can check that with your tax experts, but there is a potential red flag. Okay, and the intercompany transfer doesn't require as many documents as critical skills. The processing times used to be fairly quick with 4 to 6 weeks. After the centralization, we're looking at 6 months. I'm not quite sure if this is really conducive to the investment climate into South Africa, but that is what it is at the moment. If you have further questions regarding intercompany transfer, please don't hesitate to contact us. And otherwise look for further details on the ICT in more detail on our YouTube channel. Bye-bye.